I've stood in the darkness and tasted the rain. I've eaten so many plates of pain, I'm surprised I haven't gone insane. Everyone has a story, and I'm not saying mine is better than yours. But while I have your attention, let's put yours on pause. Lend me your ears, give me your tears, while I explore my years and how I conquered my fears. You see, I've been beat down and I've been laughed at, but I got heart, my haters, they lack that. I've been spit on and I even spat back. I've been thrown in cuffs, and for POs I pissed in cups. As if that wasn't enough, I've been shot. 8904 for my life on a hospital bed I fought, but hold up. As a kid, I was hit by a car. To this day, I'm scarred. I've been drenching gasoline trying to pump gas in my car. True story. I went to 4 high schools and the teachers told my moms, don't worry. But wait, back to the day I got shot, I could have sworn I seen Hell's Gates, because I wasn't living right. When I did most of my living, it was at night. But knock on wood, yeah, God is good. Because here I stand. Well, they say the good die young in the hood where I'm from. Well, I only got one question to that. Why am I here? Death gotta be easy, because life is hard. It'll leave you mentally, physically, and emotionally scarred. But in the end, I'm still here. Just look. I guess you don't know a person until you read their book. Because I've stood in the darkness and I've tasted the rain. But here I am, here I stand. So it wasn't all in vain. I guess I am a shooting star. Paris.
If you would like to help us minister to the world, come be a part of the studio audience. All studio audience guests receive a free Padina Light the Mic t-shirt, all while receiving a personal word from God and participating in passionate praise and worship. For more information, go to lightthemic.com today.
Welcome to Light the Mic. Man, we're really excited to have you today. This is going to be a great show. It's going to be really good. Man, that spoken word was right on time. That was awesome. So today, we last week or a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about a scripture, Romans 8:28, which says, all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. In that scripture, we talked about how that God has called certain people. But how can he choose people and then exclude other people? Because it's not fair. Because the most popular scripture in the Bible, John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that whosoever, meaning anybody that believes on him can be saved. So then how can he change? In Romans 8:28, it talks about this thing called election. How can he change and elect certain people, but then say to everybody else, you can come to me if you want? That's kind of weird, God. It's not supposed to be like that. Well, that's because God is still choosing people based on your choice, whether you choose him or not. And if you choose him, you get all of his resources, all of his power, everything that he has. You get his ability to change your life, to bring greatness into your life because you chose him. So today, our subject is how God works things together for marriage. So we have a couple of couples that are going to come on, and I have a guest with me, a very special guest. She's a very precious woman, and her name is Andrea Bryant. How are you, Andrea?
Great.
Very good to see you today, as in every day. So Andrea is my fiance. We will be getting married in January, so we're really excited about that. But first of all, we want to tell you a little bit about ourselves. We're telling you about marriage. We're talking about marriage. I'm from Killeen, Texas. I graduated from Ellison High School in let's don't say the year, okay? We won't say the year. But we graduated a long time ago, 1983. We graduated from high school. Andrea and I graduated from high school together. And we grew up in an army town, very multicultural town, and that's kind of our upbringing. I grew up kind of having girlfriends and boyfriends or whatever in high school and whatever, but living a pretty clean life, right?
Right.
But you grew up, how did you grow up dating or doing any of that in high school?
We couldn't date. We didn't date at all in high school.
Right.
We did go to our prom.
Okay, I remember.
That's about it.
I want to ask you what color you had on. Okay, so you went to the prom.
Yeah.
But no dating or nothing like that in high school.
Nothing like that.
But in college, did you start?
Yeah, we started dating in college, right?
So you keep saying we.
I have a twin sister. So we actually went through school together. So when I say we, I'm talking about my twin sister.
So you know how it is when you're in school, when you're in, in your high school and there's somebody's a twin. So Andrea was not Andrea to me, she was twin. Right? And
Yes.
so her sister twin is Angela. So the reason that we're telling you about that is because we're telling you about our background, about how we grew up and what happened to us. So, Andrea, so then you ended up doing what? After in high school in Killeen, then you went to college?
Well, my father was military. We traveled around a lot, and we graduated from high school in 1983, and then we went to college. I ended up getting married, and I joined the military.
Right. So you ended up getting married, joined the military, and moved. You've lived several places. So you lived what?
Colorado, Germany, Texas, all over Texas.
Right. So my experience is, so I graduated from high school, I went to Ouachita Baptist University in Arkansas for pastoral ministry, and then moved to Dallas and lived most of my life in Dallas. So while I'm living most of my life in Dallas, Andrea is living most of her life in San Antonio,
Colorado, San Antonio, Houston.
Okay, now Andrea, y'all look, wait. We got to go to camera 2 because I'm gonna stand up real quick, Andrea. So Andrea is what, 5'2"? You 5'2", right?
5'2" and a half.
Okay, she 5'2" and a half. Okay, so how does 5'2" and a half end up becoming a police officer? You were a police officer?
After I got out of the military, yes, I went into law enforcement. I went to the police academy. I was #1 in my class.
You were pretty. Okay, whatever. So
for the state of Texas.
Right. So we are talking about how God works things together for the good.
Right.
So what you will see as we talk, you're going to hear this story. We're going to tell 3 stories. Our story, and there's 2 other couples that are going to give you their story also. So in just a second, we're going to go to a story of a couple, Frankie and Marcus. I interviewed them. They live in Dallas, so I interviewed them earlier. And then there's Oscar and Giovanna. You're going to hear their story also. Matter of fact, let's just get ready, and we're going to go to their background. But the reason we're talking about our story, about who we are, is because by the end of this, you're going to see how that God worked things together for our good to bring us together at a time. I mean, it's really a beautiful story. It is a love story. Huh?
It is.
And we've talked about making it into a movie. It's really beautiful. But I think that God brings people together and purposely works relationships together to cause people to be better people. Hey, we're going to go, and I think we're going to go check out Marcus and Frankie. Y'all listen to this clip. I think you'll like this. Okay, so we're here today with a young couple that I know very well, I enjoy very well, and we're gonna just ask them a little bit about how God brought them together and learn works things together for the good, especially in relationships. So this is Marcus and Frankie Hawthorne. How you guys doing today? Tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your dating life leading up to the time that you met each other. Give us a little background. Let's start with Frankie. Frankie, why don't you go first? Tell us a little bit about what was going on in your life.
I used to sneak around dating, and then my dad set me down and told me that he would rather that him and my mother be a part of my choosing. It's not that they didn't want me to date or anything. They just wanted to be a family situation, and that just opened my eyes to, bring them in to what I had going on. So I started to open up, and then I think it was in 2008, I had came back from Killeen, from graduating, and I walked in to Neotropolis at our old church. And Marcus was just standing there in all black. I remember what I had on. I remember what he had on. And he was just standing there in all black, and I was like, whew, I wonder what it would be like to marry him. And then so ever since then, for about 3 years, I think, he was basically my eye candy.
Hold on. So she's telling the story kind of, we're in the car, people, and she's in the car with me. Frankie is my daughter. So we're in the car and she's in the car with me, and she looks at him and she said, ooh, he looks good. Like that. And I said, Frankie, you can't be thinking about him. He's dating somebody. And she said, I can look at him all I want, Daddy. He's just eye candy. He looks good. Like that. And so this was like 3 years before they met. So Frankie, tell us, leading up to, this was 3 years before you met. So you had, but tell us, you had dated another guy also and thought that God was telling you that that was your guy, but it wasn't your guy. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't think. I didn't think. I still to this day feel that I heard from God that he was my husband, but I did learn that we all have choices. We can choose to go with what God has placed for us, the mate that we have placed for us, or not. And he chose not to be with me. And so I still honored God, and I waited until God released me from that. And he blessed me. Blessed me with Marcus.
So Marcus, tell us a little bit about your just a little bit about your dating leading up to meeting Frankie.
Before Frankie, I was dating someone. I'm not gonna say her name. I was dating someone, and we dated for a period of time, but that was more in my period of time when I was kind of like trying to get right with God and trying to figure things out. And I guess at that time, I kind of had everything going at that period of time. I had a motorcycle, I had my own place, and I was like, I need a girlfriend or something, to fill in this lonely space or whatnot. But it was pretty much probably like it was a worse, I won't say worse, but it was a pretty bad decision at that time, especially in a time when you're trying to grow with God. But I dated her for a while, and things kind of got out of control. I'm gonna just put it that way. We was definitely living in sin, and we was living as husband and wife, but not really husband and wife. Definitely what old people call it, shacking up.
But not really shacking up. But y'all were shacking up.
We were shacking up.
Yeah, but y'all still had your own apartments.
But she stayed at my house.
Hey,
pretty much.
That's y'all business.
Yeah. But eventually, after that relationship ended, I started driving trucks. I pretty much got rid of everything, and I just left and went off on the road, and I just stayed out for months at a time. And my mindset was I was trying to build up for my future. And then at that point, I actually made a prayer. I prayed to God because I didn't really want to make any more decisions on my relationship. So I stepped back and allowed God to choose for me. And I just told him just to give me eyes to see my wife. And when the time comes, I'm able to see her and recognize that's my wife. But then, yeah, he definitely made room and space for my wife. So basically, when I came back into town, kind of everything kind of fell into.
So let's get into it. Let's talk to Oscar Montiel and Giovanna Montiel. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. Awesome. We can't complain.
Okay, so first of all, Oscar, Giovanna, tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background, and your dating life leading up to the time that you met.
Well, me, I had a child at a very young age. So got saved when I was 21, but from 21 going that way wasn't good. I had a child when I was 17 years old. So it made me mature, grow up very, very quickly, but still had some just adjustments to life and had a lot to learn about life. When I was 21 years old, of course, the relationship ended, and from 21 till how old was I when I met you? 28, 29, somewhere around there. I just gave my life over to Christ and just kind of just quit the whole dating scene.
So from 21 to 28, you're saying you broke up with her. So from 21 to 28, how did you live? How were you living at the time from 21 to 28?
Oh, I was living good, serving God, going to church, gave up the day in life, when I dedicated my life, I believe that God can restore your life. So I asked him if he can restore my life, then he can restore my virginity. And that right there was tough as I don't know what, but through the grace of God and through his strength, I overcame it.
So you're saying from 21 to 28, a man that used to be sexually active, you abstained from all sexual activity. A red-blooded American football playing man, handsome man, right?
Now, mind you, the people that I had around me, I had a real strong support system. I was attending a church called Word of Life Restoration, and they were literally like with me at all times when they had events and whenever they had, whether it be for Valentine's or Christmas or dating functions or whatever. I mean, they took me to everything. I mean, everything to the T. But it helped me in a lot of ways. It really did help me to mature, to stay focused, and they whether it be kids events, youth events, single events, marriage events, I was always connected, and so that it kept me focused.
Really? Now, were you ever were you tempted at all?
Oh yeah, tempted. Oh my good, Jiminy Cricket, are you kidding me? Tempted? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, before I was saved, I mean, you do your thing. And that's why I remember talking to somebody there, a particular person, and it was hilarious because they were like, well, I give you your props and you've been single for such a long time. And I've been single for, I think she was at the time like 33, 34 years old. Now, mind you, she was, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of see why. I said, but it's kind of different because once you're used to like doing, and then you have to give it up and stop, it's still there. You understand and you know the feeling. So the temptation is there. It's just having to literally resist the enemy and watch him flee because by myself, I couldn't do it.
Good. So Giovanna, tell us about just give us a brief synopsis of your dating or whatever up to the time that you met Oscar.
I was pretty out there. I was very promiscuous, and even when I got saved, I was still doing stuff I wasn't supposed to, and I finally had to realize I either gave all that up or I was going to continue with the same lifestyle. So I had to literally like force myself to make a decision and stay loyal and faithful to that decision. So I asked God to help me through all my junk, and I asked him to just help me stay focused and not be distracted. And then I saw this man right here, and I thought he was good looking. I thought he was attractive, but I didn't think anything past that because I literally was so broken and so just messed up. And so when I remember I was in service and I saw him worshiping, and that's when I was like, whoa, like I wish God would put someone like that in my life to love me and worship you at the same time, because I just thought it was so cool. I thought he was spiritually attractive. So I was very drawn to him in that sense. And from there, I couldn't keep my eyes off him, but every time I saw him, I would run. So, yeah.
So you were attracted to him physically, but the spiritual part is the thing that really drew you in, right?
That's what scared me, because I've never been attracted to someone spiritually. Like, I just thought it was weird that I saw a guy not be ashamed to honor or worship God. I've never seen that in my life. So just being literally fresh, being a Christian, I saw that, and I just saw something completely different in him.
Oh man, that was good. Hey, we're gonna come back to them in just a second, but I just wanted to ask Andrea a question because so that spiritual thing for a man to lead spiritually, is that important for you?
Very important. It's very important.
Because?
Well, you want somebody who is stronger in the Lord. You want someone who can be able to teach you, who can lead you, who can guide you spiritually. That's so very, very important.
Well, I don't know, every woman doesn't want that, but it's good to know that a woman does want that and that we are to supply that. So I like what they said. I like what the way, it's interesting how God brought together Marcus and Frankie, and in the next clip we're going to see how they actually came together. It's interesting the backgrounds of different people. Like our background is military, and we were living pretty clean because we both were Christians growing up, right? And Frankie and Marcus, Frankie was a Christian growing up, but she so anyway. All right, hey, we'll be right back. Keep watching, we'll be right back.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
So we're talking about how God works things together for the good, and this show is about marriage or about relationships, how God brings things together for the good for relationships. So for me, it's real interesting how that God brought us together, because although we both graduated from high school in Killeen, Texas, which is a small town in Texas, about an hour north of Austin, and then Andrea moved to San Antonio and moved all around because she's very adventurous and does all this good stuff. And I moved to Dallas and lived there most of my life. But then last year, or in October of 2014, my father was really sick, and so I needed to come to Boston to be with my father at the end of his life. So while I was coming to Boston with my father at the end of his life, Andrea, at the same time from San Antonio, us not knowing, because we went, remember we went to the prom together.
We went to the class reunion.
We went to the class reunion together, and
not together,
not
but
together.
we were there.
We were there, and
Yeah.
we even took a picture together. But we didn't even speak. We didn't even talk to each other.
No, not at all.
Because we knew each other in high school,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And we had spoken to each other, but we weren't like an item or anything like
No.
that. Because she couldn't date anyway. Your dad wouldn't let you. So, so that's it. But then in October of 2014, I moved here, or I came here to be with my dad at the end of his life. And he was in the VA West Roxbury Hospital, right?
Right.
And you came here why?
I came here for my job. I was hired to work at the VA hospital.
In West Roxbury, same hospital?
In West Roxbury in October of 2014.
Wow. So we are going...
Had no idea.
Yeah, no idea. We didn't even know. So we're going in and out of the same hospital at the same time, and we actually didn't even see each other during that time.
No.
And so I left, because you guys in Boston, they had that really bad winter. I left, and you stayed for that winter, right?
I did.
So how was the winter for you?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Right.
2 blizzards back to back,
Yeah,
and I wanted to go back to Texas.
Right. So I was supposed to come back. I was in Dallas, and I was supposed to come back here.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was supposed to be here. I enjoyed the church that I was attending here. I really felt like God wanted me to be here. And one time I came to visit, coming to set up for when I would come move back here. I came to visit, and when I walked into the prayer meeting, one of the pastors said, why haven't you been here? You're supposed to have been here. You should have already been here, because I knew that basically I felt like I was going to move to Boston, or I was going to be spending time in Boston, but I didn't have a way to work or what to do. And I had a business in Dallas as a photographer, and I didn't know what to do. So I began driving for Uber because I said, oh, I can go to Boston and drive for Uber, make a little money while I'm working, changing from photography to TV or whatever I was going to do. And when I got here, I ended up meeting Andrea. You remember that?
I remember.
So how did it happen? Real quick, we got a few seconds.
Quick, Darren had put a photo on Facebook. My sister saw it, my twin saw it, and she said, guess who's in Boston? Darren's in Boston. And so I got his phone number from his best friend, who we both know, we graduated with. Right. And that's how we met.
And that guy calls me early in the morning, 6 in the morning, waking me up, talking about, hey, Andrea wants to. So I called Andrea, and I guess the rest is history. Yeah. Hey, let's look at Frankie and Marcus's story, how they met. Let's listen to this. How did it happen for you guys? How did you meet?
So before I had went into my 6 months of singleness. Basically, I got married to God, and that time I just dedicated that with me knowing who my true knight in shining armor is, who my first husband is, which is God. And so I was in that, and Marcus came back, and I was on the phone with my brother, and he was just like, oh, Marcus in here. I was like, ooh, Marcus is so fine. He was like, what? Like, you like Marcus? And so he decided that he wanted to call Marcus and see what his type was.
Yes.
I wasn't down for that because I was in my 6 months. I ain't had time for him. But he asked, and Marcus basically
kind of put 2 to 2 together. Just her, her friend of hers who called me and kind of figure out who he was kind of talking about and kind of who he surrounded himself around. And kind of figured out who he was talking about. But, I stayed humble and didn't really say anything. Kind of had my big old smile on my face, like, I know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to expose you type of face. But then...
So, and then, what is it? My brothers, they will... You can go, man. Do you?
After that, I guess we kind of ran into each other at a, I guess you can call it an event. A lot of our brothers, they rap, do Christian rap, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. But they had an event at a House of Blues, and that's where we kind of bumped into each other again. But previously we bumped into each other along the way, but this was kind of like the nail in the coffin. But afterwards, as I was leaving out,
one of my friends spilled the beans, and I like to tell them myself. I don't need nobody else to be telling them what I got going on.
Right.
Because I got a big mouth, and I'm going to tell them myself. And she spilled the beans, and I end up calling him the next day and telling him that I actually do like him. But I'm in my 6 months, and I can't deal with him as of yet because I still have more time to spend with God.
Right. At that time, I was like, I asked her, like, what was that? And then she kind of explained it. And I was like, yep, that's really, really cool. But then we kind of just went along about our days. Now, she's going to explain something that's probably not true.
It's so true. No, it's so
I know
true.
exactly what she's about to explain it.
It's so true. Okay, so one day we used to go to this young adults group that's called C3, and one day I had brought one of my spiritual brothers there, and I hadn't seen him for about like 6 months. So I was like so excited to see my brother. So the whole time at C3, I was like this on him. I was just like, oh, I miss you so much, Chris. Like, I was on him the whole time. And one of my friends was watching Marcus at the time, and he's like all the way at the top, eyeing me the whole time. Because I'm just like under him. I'm like, oh, Chris, I love, where have you been? Like, he's like over me. I'm just like so excited to see my brother. And then so at the end, I was introducing my brother to a lot of people in C3. And Marcus come walking down. He looks at Chris. and then and slides his eyes down to me, and he's like, "Hello, Frankie." And I'm like, "Hi, Marcus, how are you?" And he's like, "Mm-hmm." And so I was like, "This is my brother," and you can see all the weight just lift off him. He's like, "Oh, okay, that's your brother." And so after that, my brother, he was like telling him, "Oh, she likes you." But literally the next day, Marcus reached out to me. He was like, "I really think that we should get to know each other. Can I have your number? Can we go on a date?" This whole time, I ain't heard nothing from Marcus. But once he saw that I was with another man, which was my brother, and I didn't want nothing to do with him, he had to make sure he got his woman. So he don't feel like that's how it went, but I know.
Okay, guys, tell me how you met. How did God bring you together?
Well, we were in service, and I remember seeing her, and we were on the left side of church, and I was with my friend Mike Ennis, and I seen Giovanna worshiping, and she had a young man next to her. I didn't know if it was her nephew or if it was her son or whatever, but I seen her worshiping, and she fell down, and it was before service, and the pastor was speaking, and the worship was really thick, and she fell down, and she started worshiping, and she was crying. And as I was worshiping, I looked down, and I told my buddy, I said, "Mike," and he said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, that's my wife." He said, "You know her?" I said, "No." He says, what you talking about, Oscar? That's going to be your wife." It kind of sounded kind of spooky, and I just felt in my heart. I'm not going to say, "Oh, the Lord spoke to me." No, it was nothing like that. But I looked at it and I said, "Man, that's going to be my wife," right? Well, the funny thing is, usually, and they do altar calls at the end of church. Well, now me being saved for nearly 10 years, I'm like, man, I'm going to get this gal who's in the ministry, who's going to be on fire, and she's going to be turned up for Jesus Christ, and blah, 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 And so I'm telling him, this is going to be my wife. And the pastor says, "You know what, before I speak this message, I'm gonna do an altar call. I'm going to make an altar call." And he started speaking about the different struggles, and this was your day. And next thing you know, I see Giovanna get up and walk towards the altar. And I was like, "Oh, man, I missed this one." Because I'm like, "Oh, man, I put my foot in my mouth." Because, like I said, I thought I was going to be with someone who was, 10 years in it just like I was, And so next thing you know, she gets saved, and she walks back, and I'm like, whoa. But after that, I think we just ran into each other a couple of times. Well, she stepped on my foot one time, right? I think that's how when we first, and so we always seen each other, and we had a little eye for each other. We're not gonna fake the funk. I was like, listen, I when I first seen her, she was worshiping, but I know what I want, and I know what I was looking for. And when I made my request known to God, listen, I made my request known to God. And so when I seen this beautiful ruby of mine, I was like, "Good Lord, yeah, this is what I want." And then you find it inside the church, and you ain't got to go to the club to find it, but you find it inside the church, even better, So one day we were in service, and it always seemed that everywhere that I went, she was there, and I was like, "Well, maybe she's kind of stalking me, And so we were in line, and I was buying a CD. Well, she said, well, first of all, we were in line, right? And next thing you know, she's right in front of me. And then I'm just, minding my business.
So I was in line first?
Yeah, you were in line first. I think she cut in line. Yeah. Let's just say it. She cut in line. That's what happened. And so next thing, I'm just minding my business, and then I feel somebody just step on my baby toe.
Why you were saying on the side of me?
No, because
on the side of me.
Because it was her left foot that hit my right foot, but the left foot went all the way to the side and hit my baby toe, and I was like, "Ow!" And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, and then, "Hey, was the service not great?" Instead of saying, "Oh, is your foot okay?" She was like, "Oh, the service was so dynamic, right?" And I was like, Yeah, it was good.
No, that's not how.
So here's the deal, because I'm gonna let her say hers. And so she kept on talking. We kept on just talking here and there, and we started talking about sports. And boxing. Oscar De La Hoya fought, and she started talking about the Cowboys, and I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Because we're ride or die Cowboy fans here. And we're coming live from Dallas, Texas, by the way. But yeah, so we started talking about the Cowboys, and she was telling me and I'm like, oh my Lord, I'm just in love. So I was like, hey, would you like to, since the conversation was so great, would you like to go, eat something? She was like, yeah, but I can't today. And I said, well, can I have your phone number? And she was like, well, yeah. And so she gave me her phone number. And then she turned around and she said, but you can't call me. And I was like, well, why you give me your phone number for? And she was like, well, I ain't pay my bill, And I said,
sure get it. I was a single mom. Some of us had to, take care of stuff, So, I have no
So basically,
shame.
I told her, listen,
It's all good.
if you give me a chance, I guarantee you that your phone would never, ever be disconnected.
All right, so that was pretty cool. We're back. Hey, today we had an awesome, didn't you guys enjoy the lighting of the mic? So I just want to say, you guys might see my little haircut. I got a fresh little haircut, nicely done just yesterday. And then yesterday I purchased, I'm not supposed to show that belly right there. But anyway, I used to didn't have this belly, but I purchased this t-shirt. So bro, how in the world do you design this shirt like this?
Yeah, man, that brand's called Hello New World. That's the Crew Love shirt, because in Boston there's a lot of water, a lot of crew teams, so that's kind of like paying homage to Boston. It's a play on words, because you got your crew like you rock with, and then your crew, so Crew Love. That's the Crew Love Hello New World shirt. Right
So remember the other shirt you wanted me to get, the one that had like the crew on the back. So your stuff is not real urban. It's urban, but it's kind of cross culture. Is that right?
It has global appeal. That's why we call it Hello New World. It's for everybody. And our motto, anyone could change the world, basically symbolizing that it's for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so for everybody. So for an older cat like me, 51, and a younger cat like yourself. So does this one of your
this is the To the Moon and Back hoodie,
Okay.
They say we've been to the moon, some say we haven't.
Right.
But Hello New World has, you know what I'm saying?
So what is your inspiration that helps you, buy glasses like that? No, I'm not buy glasses, but that helps you do all these artistic, because you're obviously a creative. What's your inspiration primarily?
Life, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just look around at everything going on, you know what I'm saying? The Crew Love, that comes from just people being, like our mottos, anyone can change the world. So people change the world with everything they do. So the crew, people doing crew, I see that. I spin off of that, the whole going to the moon aspect. Just everyday life and living and feeling and touching and breathing, you know what I'm saying? And God just gave me a gift too, you know what I'm saying? So that right there is just what it is, you know what I'm saying?
So what I want to know, we have a lot of young people on the set, working with the set and everything, and I'm trying to be young, but I'm kind of like Tony Romo, it's catching up to me, you know what I'm saying? So what I want to know is how do you wear like, what are these called? What are these called?
These are Army fatigue.
Fatigues, fatigues.
Ralph
How do you
Lauren.
wear fatigues, and then what kind of shoes are those?
The shattered backboard joint.
Yeah, and then I can't put it together like that. I always put brown with brown, black with black, and maybe a little, but
It's more so about complementing versus matching.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like pink, green, white go together. You know what I'm saying? Pink, green, black go together.
Okay.
Instead of pink hat, pink sneaker. You know what I'm saying? You could complement that hat with a complementing color. So that me, honestly, as a creative, I really live off of not looking like everyone else.
Right.
Like it's in my DNA to just say, you know what, I'm going left while everyone's going right.
Right.
And when you do that and you own it and you have that confidence, it works.
Okay, so we have a link, or we have you can look online where you see all of Paris France's art, where you can go get a piece of art. We showed you earlier the HelloNewWorldClothing.com. Then you can catch up with him on Instagram. It's on there.
Paris France Music, because I am an artist. Paris France Music on Instagram.
How are you gonna tell us your art? We heard your art when you started.
Well, musically too.
Yeah.
Poetry and as well as
Poetry and music.
SoundCloud, Paris France.
So is it rap or is it singing?
I
or
rap.
what? Yeah.
I do spoken word. I design clothes. I'm a barber, hence your haircut.
Yeah.
So I'm just all around creative.
So you got to come back and do some rapping for us because we need some good rapping. Now I'm a preacher. You're gonna have to hold it down just a little
No,
bit.
I got
mean,
you.
we could, you know, you can let it loose a little bit, but we can't be like we in the club. Is that okay?
No, that's cool. I got you.
He asked me, you know, are you gonna? I'm a rap, but you know, sometimes I might do a little cussing in my rap. I was like, it's cool, cause you know, if I bring a rapper to town or whatever, we go to the club because we believe that God wants to reach the world, not just a certain group of people. So anyway, when I went to get this shirt, I kept asking, where'd you get that design? Because it's real soft, man.
Yeah.
It's real fitted. It's too fitted. That's why my stomach. Anyway, so I kept asking him because, you know, his shirt has a little design in the back with his logo and everything. Mine still have the clip from the people. But this is a shirt. This is our shirt, the Light the Mic shirt. That we give ours away. We can't charge no money for ours. We got a little V-neck for you, and I gave you an extra large. I don't know if you need a large or extra large, but
all good.
we appreciate you coming out, man, helping us, and you guys please support my brother. All right. Check him out and stay in tune with us. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all stay tuned with us. We're going to come back with the end of the story about how God worked things together in these three couples' lives. Check it out.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
All right, we're back. We're going to finish this thing up talking about how God works things together for your good. And God does use relationships. I'm telling you, I was a really broken person when I came to Boston. I mean, I really needed a change. I needed some things in my life, and I needed a friend. And one of the things that I wanted is I wanted to be able to marry a friend. I didn't want to just marry somebody just for, quote, love's sake, but I wanted somebody that I could spend my life with. And Andrea is a really good friend. Not just she's a friend from my hometown. It was good that we have those things in common, but it was also good that that we were able to talk and be friends. And we were really friends before we became an item, although we knew something must be up because God was doing something. Did you think something was up, like when we first started kind of connecting?
I think so. And you know, people, whenever they would see us together, I would say, he's my classmate. He's just my classmate. That's it. But I felt it. I did feel something.
Yeah, and I felt something too. So it was really cool. And it was just interesting how God started. You remember how God would piece it? Like one of the pastors in the church was just looking, and
Yes.
I was going back and forth to Dallas doing photo shoots and coming back here. And he was like, "Why you keep going back to Dallas?" you know. And I was like, "Whoa, I got to make some money, man," you know. And then he was looking at her like, "You ought to see why you're supposed to be here, right?"
Right.
And so, well, you know what was really interesting? Remember, I was going to Dallas one day.
Yes.
I had already paid for my flights there and back.
Yes.
And I don't know. I was just going for some random reason. And I had no money.
Yeah.
I was broke. And what I believe is that when you don't know what to do, you should just stop and pray. Now, for me in particular, I pray in tongues because the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14th chapter that you should pray in tongues. And then God will tell you what to do. So I prayed in tongues, and God said, "Why are you trying to go to Dallas? I sent you to Boston. I set you up to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be on TV. And then I sent a woman for you that you really love. What are you thinking about?" And so God was working that together, and it really made me a better person. Hey, you guys stay tuned, and we'll be right back. What you guys tell me? What do you think? Do you think God has used the union, bringing you together, to make your individual lives better? And if you think God has done that, how do you think it's been for your personal good that He would bring you two together?
I still do. I tell a lot of people that I'm married into purpose. I think everyone here is placed here to do something on this earth. And once I got married, it all kind of, I guess, came just like everything kind of just fell into place after I got married. When we got married, because I do a lot of film work. I've been doing it since high school, and just something, my passion, my loves, and stuff like that. He kind of exposed all of that once we got married, and kind of just been running with that ever since. But other than that, besides that, I think a lot of times that, especially being married, and he's using it to kind of grow us. It'll definitely grow you up being married, because we both basically made a decision, just separately. Like, once we get married, we are married. That's it. And so basically, whatever we go through, no matter what, that we figure out a way to fix it, and we stay together. Because just being black marriages or especially growing up, I didn't see great examples of just marriages. So I wanted to kind of, for me personally, I just kind of wanted to break that trend, especially with my next generation that's coming up, to really see, for my kids to really see mommy and daddy sticking together and growing up and growing old together. So that was kind of my thing.
It's good. How has it helped you, Frankie?
I see a lot of me through his eyes, because he's somewhat vocal, and so things that I don't see in myself, he definitely tells me, and he definitely tells me, and I'm able to work on that and become a better person for my kids and people around me, so I can be more loving to them. So I basically see more of me in him, because he definitely tells me my faults all the time.
So you think God was working it together when Frankie was maybe God was working when Frankie was hanging all over her brother, and Marcus got jealous, and it pushed him up to make him want to pursue more. And then God was also working, Marcus, when you were just dating someone else, but then she was seeing you and she was liking you. So you think God was working it together for your good, for your life, for the betterment of your life?
Yeah,
I believe so.
It's hard, but,
it's definitely hard.
It's definitely that, but I believe so.
I mean, hey, you can't say no right now with him sitting next to you anyway, or her sitting next to you anyway. You could. Okay, if you could say no. Hey, it's been really good interviewing with you guys, and you guys have a beautiful daughter, and Frankie, your father's a cool dude. I like him. Anyway, look forward to seeing more pictures of more kids from you guys in the very, very near future. In the very near future. All right, thank you for being on the Light the Mic show. I think you guys have really helped us out. Thank you very much. How has your life, each of your lives, been better because of being with each other?
Well, I think Oscar and I both come from very broken families. We both have a lot of similarities, and I think that we find, I don't know, we just have a lot in common, and we find that love in each other that we never thought we could experience. I mean, we definitely have our challenges, and it's tough at times, but I think because we love each other so much, and we stay focused on our vision, and that it always brings us back together. So we always try to bring out of each other what we were never given as kids. So I think that's what brings us a lot closer together.
What about yourself, Oscar?
Well, God has definitely, has spoiled me with such an awesome and amazing wife. It's mind blowing because what I thought that I had in Giovanna, there was much more than what I thought that she was, and to see how she is with our kids, she's definitely a protector of this home. And I mean, she's amazing. She's mind blowing in how she takes care of our kids. It's something that I always desire. Like she said, we come from a broken family, and we come from a blended family, and that's very difficult. It's very difficult. But how she's able to balance and show love, and how she cares for this family and is always here and stands 100%. I mean, behind everything that we would, like she said, our foundation, where she stands, it's crazy. I'm just, like I said, I'm just spoiled with my wife.
But what advice could you give to singles that are looking to get married, that have children, because they're going to go into a blended relationship, a blended family?
I think for women that are single with children, I think you have to honestly continue your eye with God. Like, you literally have to make sure that you are following God and just stay focused on your vision and what you need, and don't ever think that it's just you and God. You have to remember your child as well, and what's the best for that, and not get caught up in the emotion. You have to go past that and see if it's all going to work out together for you and your child, your children. And don't ever just look at the guy and think that's the one just because it all appears to look good. It has to go past that, because being blended is definitely very, very challenging. It's one of our biggest challenges even now. It's very difficult, and so just know that whoever you choose is going to be a part of that chemistry with your child as well.
Absolutely. And what I would tell a young man is to have a strong communication with one another. Always be open with each other. And
from the beginning.
From the beginning. From the beginning, you have to have an open relationship here, and the communication has to be strong. Because when you come from a blended family, you got one person saying this, and you got another parent over here. So you're dealing not only here, but you're dealing with other individuals, and they give their input to the kids on, well, you know what, I tell you to do this, and if they tell you to do this, you don't know. But as a man, you got to lay down the law and say, you know what, you're not going to come in between what God has joined together. There will be no division. If you ever sense anything of confusion, you know it's not of God, and you got to just stand to what you guys believe in and what you guys work for. You lay down the foundation, you hold on to the vision, and don't let go of it.
Hey, stop. Hey, we got to go back on there. Okay, hey, it was real good talking to you guys. I hope that you understand that, God is working it together for your good. We're going to do more teaching in our next show about what that means theologically, scripturally, or how he works things together for your good. I'm excited about what God is doing in your life. If you've given your life to Christ, if you love him, he is working all of it together. And even in relationships, which is very difficult, this is not my first relationship, and not yours either, right? So, but we get better, and God works it out for us. Hey, thank you for checking out the Light the Mic show. Y'all stay tuned for the next Light the Mic.
Nothing is too hard. Yeah. Wait a minute, yo. I hope you know I bled for you, and though you cover yourself in red, my blood is dead to you. Cause you won't care about me. You think it's cool, man? Cause you would rather get caught up on all the hood slang or hit a beat drop. The 808's bang, forever hustling. Caught it for their pocket change, and you're stuck flirting in short skirts and top like twos. Realize that the deposits in your heart used, but it's difficult when you don't know that I died for you. Yes, your whole soul. Your pharisaical friends act they don't know. They think that heaven's for them, and you should not go. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is an obstacle.
Nothing is an obstacle.
Nothing is too hard. Yeah, nothing is impossible. Nothing nothing is an obstacle. Nothing is too hard. Yeah.
God does the walking, God does the calling, but none of this would happen unless I do